The scent of pine and roast beef was supposed to smell like home. It smelled like judgment. I sat at the end of my parents' gleaming mahogany table, the seat they called the kids' table even though I was 28. It felt miles away from my father, who stood carving the turkey with his back turned to me. My sister, Chloe, held court in the center, shimmering in a silk dress the color of champagne. Her fiancé, David, sat beside her, looking pleased. He was also her boss. My mother fussed over the gravy boat, her eyes darting everywhere but to me. It was a well-practiced choreography of exclusion, and I was their ghost at the feast. "You're quiet tonight, Kat," Chloe's voice boomed into the carefully constructed silence. She took a delicate sip of wine, her painted lips leaving a perfect red ring on the crystal. "Tired from all that coding?" she asked, her tone dripping with mock curiosity. "Or whatever it is you do in the garage." A few of our cousins snickered into their napkins. Across the table, David smiled, a tight, polite expression that never once reached his eyes. I said nothing. I just stared down at the chipped pattern of my plate. I'd bought it at a thrift store. It was a small act of defiance, a reminder that I didn't belong to their pristine, matching set. My silence was a language they refused to learn. My mother finally shot a nervous glance my way. "Chloe, be nice, it's Christmas." Her defense was as thin as the cheap paper napkins she'd set by my plate. Chloe just waved a dismissive hand, her diamond bracelets jangling like tiny, cold bells. "Oh, I'm just worried about her. All that solitude, and the cold." She turned to me then, her eyes glinting. She leaned forward, making sure everyone could hear. Then she delivered the line. The one she'd clearly been polishing all night. "Don't be late to your garage bed," she laughed. The sound was sharp and ugly, but the table erupted in polite, cruel chuckles. The laughter of people who were relieved the joke wasn't on them. My throat closed up. My hands tightened under the linen cloth, my knuckles turning white. A hot flush of shame crept up my neck. Every fiber of my being screamed at me to stand up, to throw the plate, to shatter the perfect fragile piece of their perfect fragile Christmas. I didn't. I just bit my tongue. Hard. The sharp metallic taste of blood was a small, secret rebellion. A promise. A moment later, Chloe's phone buzzed on the table, a notification about some company party lighting up the screen. She glanced at it, then at David. He wasn't looking at her. He was looking at me. And in his eyes, I saw a flicker of something that felt worse than the laughter. Pity. It was the look you give something small and broken you're about to step over. I held his gaze for a second too long, letting the humiliation sear itself into my memory. I promised myself, in that moment, it was the last time anyone would ever look at me that way again. The garage wasn't a choice. It was the crater left by an explosion I never saw coming. 2 years ago, Chloe had come to me, her eyes perfectly rimmed with tears, a flawless business plan clutched in her hand. A boutique marketing firm. All she needed was seed money. I had just sold my first piece of software. I had $50,000 in my savings account, my entire life's net worth. I believed in her. I wanted to believe in her. I sent it to her in a single wire transfer. The email receipt still sits in a folder on my laptop, a digital ghost of my own stupidity. Her firm folded in 6 months. The money was gone, vanished into a luxury office lease, designer furniture, and a premium company car she still drove. When I lost my own apartment, I swallowed my pride and asked for help. My parents offered the garage. "It'll build character," my father had said, not looking at me. Now, this cold concrete box was my office and my bedroom. In one corner, a sad-looking mattress on the floor. In the other, the heart of my new world, 3 monitors, a custom-built server, and lines of code that were building an empire under the name K. My company, Nexus Innovations, was completely anonymous. No face, no photos, just a reputation for ruthless efficiency that was making me a fortune no one knew I had. After the dessert I didn't eat, I finally made my excuses and walked out into the biting night air. My car, a 10-year-old sedan, was parked at the curb. As I slid into the driver's seat, the check engine light, my constant, glowing orange companion for the past week, blinked accusingly. "Just get me home," I whispered to the silence, turning the key in the ignition. The engine sputtered. It coughed. A pathetic metallic groan ripped through the quiet street. Then, nothing. I tried again, my heart pounding. The engine was dead. The battery was gone. I was stranded. Stuck here, in the cold shadow of the house where I was a joke, with a dead car and a bank account no one could see. My phone buzzed, the screen lighting up the dark cabin. It was a text from Chloe. "Forgot your pity leftovers. Mom left them on the porch." I rested my forehead against the freezing steering wheel. The humiliation felt fresh, a second wave washing over me, cold and suffocating. I had to call a tow truck. The flashing blue and yellow lights painted stripes across my family's perfect house, turning our private humiliation into a public spectacle. My father came outside, his coat pulled tight over his Christmas sweater. He looked at the truck, then at me, and his face hardened into a mask of pure disappointment. "This is embarrassing, Katerina," he said. He didn't ask if I was okay. He never did. The front door opened, spilling light onto the lawn. My mother and Chloe stood there, silhouetted, drawn by the commotion. What now? Chloe sighed, the sound sharp with annoyance. "The car's done," I said, my voice flat. I was talking to the tow truck driver, but the words were a message for them. My father shook his head, his jaw tight. "We can't have this junk heap sitting in front of the house. I'll give you the money for a down payment on something respectable." He was already pulling his thick leather wallet out, ready to flash his cash and solve the problem. His problem, not mine. "And while you're at it," he continued, his voice booming with authority, "you can loan Chloe some for her new car. Hers is getting old." This was it. This was the moment. The familiar dance where they offered a solution that was really just another chain to wrap around my neck. But something inside me had snapped tonight. The girl who'd given away her life savings was gone. The girl who cried herself to sleep on a mattress on a concrete floor was gone. "No," I said. The word hung in the cold air. It was small, but it felt heavy. It felt absolute. The world seemed to stop. The tow truck driver paused. My father froze, his wallet still half open. "What did you say?" he asked, his voice dangerously quiet. I said no, I repeated, a strange calm washing over me. "Thank you for the offer, but I'll handle my car myself, and I won't be loaning Chloe any money." Chloe let out a sharp, ugly laugh. "Loan me money? You don't have any. You live in a garage." "That's enough," my mother snapped, but her eyes were fixed on me, sharp with accusation. "Don't be so ungrateful, Katerina. Your father is trying to help you. His help comes with strings," I said, my voice finally finding its strength. "I'm done with strings." It was then that my phone buzzed in my pocket. A different kind of buzz. An encrypted, urgent vibration. I pulled it out. The screen lit up with a name, Mr. Chen. The message preview was short, the words glowing in the dark. "MSK, the final documents are signed. Are you ready for tomorrow's 9 p.m. announcement?" I looked up from the screen. The tow truck had my car hitched, ready to haul away the wreckage of my old life. My family was staring at me, a united front of disapproval. They saw a broken girl with a broken car. They had no idea they were looking at a queen about to take back her kingdom. I typed a single word back to Mr. Chen. "Ready?" The ride back to the garage in a taxi felt like a retreat, a silent, lonely surrender. The city lights blurred through the window, streaks of color in the darkness. Then my phone lit up, a harsh glow in the dim cab. It was the family group text, a digital snake pit I'd never had the courage to leave. Chloe had already begun her campaign, painting me as the villain before my tow truck was even out of her sight. Her words flashed on the screen. "Can't believe how selfish Kat was tonight. Dad offers to help her and she just throws it in his face, after everything we've done for her. So ungrateful. Immediately, the responses poured in. My aunt, I'm so sorry you have to deal with that, sweetie. A cousin added, some people just love to be the victim. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, trembling slightly. My throat was tight. I could defend myself. I could tell them about the $50,000. I could scream that their help was just another word for control. But what was the point? Their minds were made up. They didn't want the truth. They wanted a story that made them feel good, and I was the monster in it. Then, the final blow. A small blue thumbs-up icon appeared next to Chloe's message. It was from David, her boss, her fiancé, the man who had pitied me just an hour before. He had chosen his side. A familiar sting burned behind my eyes, but the tears didn't fall. Instead, a cold, hard clarity washed over me. This family wasn't a safety net. It was a cage, and I was finally ready to break the lock. I got back to the garage, the chill of the concrete seeping into my bones for the last time. I put my phone face down on the dusty workbench. I opened my laptop, ignoring the flashing group chat icon. I didn't go to my company's server. I didn't look at stock market projections. I opened a real estate website. I found the listing I had bookmarked weeks ago. An apartment downtown, with huge windows and a view of the entire city. A place that wasn't a garage. Penthouse. Corner unit. The prompt for the security deposit blinked on the screen. It was a terrifying amount of money. An amount that would make my family gasp. I took a deep breath. I typed in my information. I clicked submit. The confirmation email arrived instantly. Welcome to your new home. Keys are available for pickup tomorrow. They thought they had won. They thought they'd pushed me back into my cold, dark corner for good. They had no idea I was already moving into a palace in the sky. The next morning, I didn't go to the garage. I took a taxi to a glass tower downtown that scraped the clouds. The sterile, quiet lobby smelled of money and ambition. The sign on the 40th floor read, Chen and Associates. Mr. Chen was a small, immaculate man with eyes that missed nothing. He greeted me not as the girl with the broken-down car, but as MSK, the enigmatic CEO of Nexus Innovations. He led me into a silent boardroom with a view of the entire city. Everything is in order, he said, his voice calm and precise. He slid a thick, leather-bound ledger across the polished table. The weight of it made a solid, satisfying thud. The transfer is complete as of 8 a.m. this morning. Nexus Innovations is now the sole owner of a mid-level marketing company called Innovate Creative. He paused, letting the words land. David's company. Chloe's company. My hand trembled slightly as I opened the ledger to the final page. The signatures of Innovate's board members were shaky, desperate scrawls. Beneath them, in a space reserved for the new owner, was my signature. A single, sharp, confident initial, K. They think Nexus is a foreign investment fund, I said. It was half a question. They believe what they were led to believe, Mr. Chen corrected gently. They were so desperate to be saved from bankruptcy, they didn't ask the right questions. A ghost of a smile touched his lips. He then gestured to a black garment bag hanging on the back of the door. Your attire for this evening. Inside, I knew, was a tailored suit in deep charcoal gray. The cut was sharp, powerful, and unapologetically expensive. It was the skin I was about to step into. My uniform for the coming war. We spent the next hour finalizing the plan. The press release, with my name and photo, was scheduled to go live at exactly 9 p.m. Simultaneously, Mr. Chen explained, a text message with the link will be sent to a pre-approved list of all key personnel. He slid a tablet toward me, showing the list of names. You've added a new contact group, I noted, seeing the name I had given it. Family. As you requested, he confirmed. It's a multi-pronged, inescapable corporate maneuver. It felt like a declaration of war. Mr. Chen looked at me then, his professional mask slipping for just a second. There are 100 quieter ways to do this, Ms. K. A simple email tomorrow morning would suffice. He was giving me an out, a chance to retreat, To take the victory without the confrontation. I thought of the laughter at the dinner table, the pity in David's eyes, the glowing thumbs up on my phone, the cold concrete floor of the garage. I stood up and took the garment bag from the door. The fabric felt heavy, real. "They built the stage," I said, my voice steady and cold. "I'm just going to give them the finale they deserve." He nodded slowly. "Very well." He paused, looking at me one last time as I stood in the doorway. "Are you sure you want to do it this way?" I met his gaze in the reflection of the glass, the city sprawling behind me like a conquered kingdom. They left me no choice. I arrived back at the house at 8:45 p.m. The Christmas lights blinked innocently, casting a warm glow on the lawn. I let myself in through the garage. I stood there for a moment on the cold concrete, a place that no longer felt like my prison. It was just a room I was about to leave forever. From the living room, I could hear them. They were drinking coffee, their voices loud and relaxed. I heard my name, followed by a sharp, dismissive chuckle from Chloe. They were still feasting on my humiliation. I waited. I watched the clock on my phone tick past 8:58. My heart wasn't pounding. It was steady. It was cold. At exactly 8:59, I walked into the room. The laughter died instantly. It was replaced by a thick, shocked silence. The air crackled. I was no longer wearing the faded sweater and worn jeans. I was in the charcoal suit, the fabric perfectly tailored, the lines sharp and severe. My hair, usually in a messy bun, was styled. My posture was different. I stood taller. I took up space. Chloe found her voice first. A nervous, brittle sound. "What are you wearing? Did you rob a JCPenney?" My father started to rise from his armchair, his face a thundercloud of confusion and anger. "Katerina, what is the meaning of this?" I didn't answer them. My eyes scanned the room, landing on the half-eaten plates of pie, the melting ice cream, a perfect picture of their comfortable world, about to be shattered. I walked over to the coffee table and placed my phone face up on the dark wood. The screen was black. David stared at me, a strange, unnerved look on his face. He recognized the suit. It was the kind of suit the executives in his head office wore, the kind of suit worn by people who could end his career with a single email. My phone buzzed. Once, a single, sharp vibration. A calendar alert I'd set bloomed on the screen, the white letters glowing. In the dim light, 9 p.m., Nexus Innovations press release live. David's eyes darted to my phone. His brow furrowed. "Nexus? That's the firm that's acquiring us." He looked up at me, his face a mask of bewilderment. "How do you know about that?" Before I could answer, a synchronized chime of notifications echoed through the room. Every phone on the table lit up at the exact same moment. The family group text? A new message had appeared, from a number they didn't recognize. It was from Mr. Chen. "Congratulations to all on the successful acquisition of Innovate Creative by Nexus Innovations. A link to the official press release is attached for your convenience. We are all excited to work under the visionary leadership of our CEO, Katerina." My full name. My first name. The air went thin. I could feel the oxygen being sucked out of the room. Chloe grabbed her phone, her hand shaking. "What is this?" "What's going on?" she whispered, her voice trembling. David's hands were shaking too as he fumbled to tap the link. His face, already pale, turned the color of ash. The web page loaded. At the very top of the official press release was a professional headshot. My headshot. Beneath it, the headline, big and bold and undeniable, Katerina M. Vance, founder and CEO of Nexus Innovations, announces strategic acquisition. David's head snapped up. He looked from his phone screen to me, standing there in my power suit. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. The face of the nobody they mocked was the CEO he feared. Chloe read it over his shoulder. Her smug laugh died in her throat, replaced by a choked, strangled gasp. No, that's not possible. Her eyes, wide with pure horror, met mine. In them, I didn't see respect or remorse. I saw fear, the raw, primal fear of someone who just realized the person they've been kicking is the one who owns the ground they're standing on. I let the silence hang, thick and suffocating. I let them all look at me. Really look at me, for the very first time. Then, I calmly picked up my phone. I looked directly at David, my voice level and clear, holding the unmistakable chill of command. We have a board meeting on Monday at 8 a.m. sharp. Be prepared. I didn't wait for a response. I didn't need one. I turned my back on their stunned, shattered faces and walked out of the room. Their world had just been upended, but mine was just beginning. I walked through the house and into the garage one last time. I didn't go to the sad mattress in the corner. I went to the small bag I had packed that morning and grabbed my laptop bag and my purse. On the dusty workbench, I left the thrift store plate. A final, small piece of the old me, left behind for them to puzzle over. I walked out the front door, past the empty curb where my old life had died the night before. A new car was waiting for me. A black sedan, sleek and silent, courtesy of the company. My company. I got in and drove away from the house without a second glance. The warm Christmas lights of their perfect little world shrank in my rearview mirror until they were just another star in the dark. I didn't drive to an office or a hotel. I drove downtown to the gleaming new high-rise from the website. The doorman, in his crisp uniform, opened the door for me. "Welcome home, Ms. Vance." In my new apartment, the air smelled of fresh paint and possibility. The rooms were empty, a blank canvas waiting for a life to be put inside them. I walked to the floor-to-ceiling windows. The city spread out before me, a tapestry of glittering lights. It wasn't lonely. It was quiet. It was mine. My phone buzzed. A short, simple text from Mr. Chen. "Well done." I smiled. A real, genuine smile. I wasn't the girl in the garage anymore. I wasn't their joke, their footnote, their cautionary tale. I was the view. The peace I felt was a revenge far sweeter than any argument I could have won. It was the revenge of a life well lived, on my own terms. They wanted me to know my place, and tonight, I finally showed it to them. Have you ever had a moment where you had to silently prove your worth to people who constantly underestimated you? Share your story in the comments below.